Today's MetroNews television forecast brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Our stretch of summery sunshine does continue with temperatures heating up heading into the weekend. A cold front Sunday brings scattered showers and thunderstorms, but on the other side of that front, still plenty of warmth next week. High temperatures for Charleston, for some context, have been very close to average recently. Stayed in the 70s Monday and Tuesday, low 80s today, but starting Thursday and continuing through Sunday, each day around 5 to 10 degrees above daily average. No precipitation expected in the region through 8 a.m. Saturday. A very dry stretch here. Notice even over our 7-day forecast, only minimal amounts, with most areas expected currently to stay under 1/10 of an inch. So broad high pressure. That continues to secure some dry air and clear skies overnight and some sunshine for our Thursday. That will be the same thing Thursday night into Friday, Friday into Saturday. Sunday brings the cold front, but on the other side of that, another high pressure system looks to secure a very quiet stretch next week. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. D.C. rising to 95 on Saturday, staying clear there. Even Orlando and Tampa getting a bit of a break from the thunderstorms heading into the weekend. Panhandle to panhandle forecast. Generally in the mid-50s tonight with clear skies. Morgantown 54, then 83 here for Thursday. Moundsville 87. Going east with Martinsburg's 56 tonight and topping off at 89 here on Thursday. The cooler spots towards Davis, 76 for your Thursday. Meanwhile, Snowshoe, another cool spot, 49 tonight and 74 on Thursday, but 81 Elkins, looking to Parkersburg for 85, and in Ripley, Lewisburg, 47 tonight, Charleston, 52, 87 for Thursday. The cooler spots here are still managing low 80s. A very nice stretch into the weekend. As mentioned, Storm Sunday, followed by another dry stretch.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Five, 3, 1.
Red 57, Red 57, hot.
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened-to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
It is the CityNet Statewide Sports Line. We are on location once again. We've moved the Health Plan Studios outdoors for the second straight night. We are at the State High School Softball Championships at Little Creek Park in South Charleston. I'm Kyle Wiggs. Brad Howe is alongside. Brad, good evening.
Good evening to you, Kyle.
Good to see you. We've had some fun today.
We have had a lot of fun. Great games again down here. Beautiful weather. We're rolling.
Watched a lot of softball in Class AAA and Class 4A. So we'll talk about the 4A games in a moment. Greg Carey's been watching all the AAA games. He'll join us a little bit later on with a report. Greg Hunter is back in Morgantown. And, Greg, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, all. Hopefully everything is well in the Kanawha Valley.
Yep, we're doing fine. Weather moved out yesterday, so no threat of rain today or tomorrow. We're going to get these games in. Coming up, Dawson Montesa, Mountaineer pitcher, will join us at about 6:20. So that's exciting. The Mountaineers continuing to prepare for the Super Regional against Cal Poly, which will start on Friday. So Dawson Montesa coming up at about 6:20 on the Sports Line. We'll talk softball coming up. The text line is open, 304-TALK-304. But, Greg, we've got some football news to kick off the show.
Yeah, Hey, interesting. In the middle of all this basketball talk, we actually get an opportunity to talk a little bit about a football. But it's on the outset of what is a really busy time in terms of football recruiting in today's world. We went through the transfer portal cycle and all that, but now camps are starting up at all the major colleges around the country. And West Virginia has a lot of campers in, and that means a lot of high-profile recruits who come in, get an opportunity to look at West Virginia. And just within the last few days, West Virginia has had 4 commitments. Now, one of them is for the class of 2028, so a guy that's going to be a high school junior this coming season. A linebacker from St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, one of the best prep schools in the country, Brandon Willis Dickinson, 6 foot, 205-pound, really speedy linebacker. Auburn, Florida State, Maryland, Indiana had also offered him. So that'll tell you what his ceiling is if all those offered him. And then they have 3 more that have committed for the class of 27. So these are guys that are going to be high school seniors this coming year. This gives West Virginia 14 total commitments so far. But Mountaineers picked up in the last few days Zion Mead, a defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman from Louisville, 6'3", 280. All these guys had very major and high-level Power 4 offers. Mead did as well at Louisville, but chooses West Virginia. Brian Duncan, a little scat back from Cairo, Georgia, and you watch his highlights, he played every position but offensive tackle. Now, he's not a big guy at 5'9", 180, but he played, he was a Wildcat quarterback, slot back, running back, I back, safety, corner, you name it, he played it at a skill position. He probably is going to be a running back or a slot back at West Virginia. And then the most recent of those is Ethan Lawson, big, and I'm talking big interior offensive lineman from Western Virginia, smaller high school in Rye Cove, but had gotten a lot of attention from the likes of Kentucky, Virginia, and all others. And he's, like I said, 6'6", 310. He's going to be a guard more than likely at WVU, but these latest commits give West Virginia 14 on the way to Lord knows how many ultimately they'll sign when December comes around.
Greg, it's pretty amazing. I was told about that Lawrence recruit. This is massive news in that community because the school is so small. It's 8 through 12 in the building, and there's like 200 students total in that school. So this is really big news for them, literally and figuratively, with this big lineman coming in. Might be the biggest announcement in their history.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I did look up the school. 200, just barely over 200 kids, and that, again, that's counting 8 through 12.
Right.
It's sort of near the Tennessee border, sort of in the Bristol, Virginia range, in that area, above that, but really in a rural, isolated area. But they play really good football. I mean, they were in the state finals 2 years ago, and were a team that made the playoffs last year, Rye Cove. So, it's a small school, but one that has produced good football teams. But it looks like Ethan Lawson is the best of the individuals that have come out of that school in quite a while. And despite the fact that he was from a small school, a lot of big schools and big universities found their way to recruit him. He'd been to West Virginia, liked what he saw, and all of a sudden he throws out a social video today, social media video, burning the couch. So he's got the West Virginia vibe already.
Yeah, it was told to me by somebody that's almost Hoosiers-esque when they're competing and they're going to these state championship games, that's what it's similar to. So good story there with Lawrence's commitment.
Yeah, great story.
Or Lawson, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Greg, how much, again, we've heard about this baseball momentum and the magic that has that's really enthralled everybody here in the state, but West Virginia's name is out there, like it hasn't been for a long time. Is there an impact with what this baseball team is doing? Is it having an effect on recruiting in other sports?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, publicity helps, right? And the positive publicity you get helps and carries through to all sports. So, yeah, I would say it definitely helps football, basketball, tennis, you name it. They're going to thrive. And obviously baseball a great deal. I mean, Steve Saban said the other day in his post-game press conference, Monday night after winning, I got to go host a transfer on a visit here tomorrow. So, even in the midst of all the baseball success, their recruiting doesn't stop, and it doesn't stop for anybody anymore.
You know what's crazy about that for a second here? Think about what you just said there. We just got done fixing this in basketball where the portal didn't open until after the championship, and you're right back in the very next sports season. There's still teams competing. You're not through with the season yet, and the portal is open and there's movement. It's just nonsense and makes no sense how the NCAA can't get it together and coordinate some of these rules across sports. Total nonsense, Kyle.
I hear you. Brad's fired up, Greg.
Yeah. He's always fired up. When is he not?
Well, we got Saban's out there trying to bring in recruits here, but trying to get to the College World Series. Yeah, I'd like him to be able to focus on one part of his job.
Trying to prep on a super regional.
Right.
No, your point's well taken. Definitely well taken. Real quick before we're going to take a break, and then we're scheduled to be joined by Dawson Montessa. We've seen some great softball on this Quad A field and a lot of tight games, and the pitching has been just unbelievable today. So Morgantown with Maddie Wisman, they score a 3-0 win over Cabell Midland. And Drea Watts, the reigning state player of the year, Morgantown manufacturing some runs, and as Morgantown beats Cabell Midland. And then George Washington, a 1-0 victory over University High. That was an unbelievably pitched game. And GW has a freshman in Kenzie Bellamy who throws a shutout. They win that contest. So those were the winners bracket games today. University came back and won a 1-0 game over Hurricane with Maddie Campbell throwing another shutout. And University got its lone run in the first inning. That held up. They win that game 1-0. And Parkersburg South eliminated Cabell Midland in a elimination game tonight. So Cabell Midland, the defending champ, is out. They've lost twice today, and they're out. So the Quad A bracket is wide open. We've got Morgantown against George Washington coming up in a battle of teams that are 2-0. And then the final game tonight, University will be playing for the third time today. University against Hurricane in an elimination game. So that's what's on tap. All the highlights and all the game stories are at WVMetroNews.com. Joe Briccato, or I should say Greg Carey, will join us in a bit, get us caught up on the AAA bracket. We did have a classic rivalry renewed and a classic game, extra innings, Winfield and Herbert Hoover today.
Yeah, when you talk AAA softball, those are the two teams you're talking about. Winfield able to get that victory in extra innings, and we'll get ready to watch Winfield on the field directly behind where we are right now. So, yeah, still some great softball to come tonight.
All right, we'll take a break. Again, scheduled to be joined by Dawson Montessa. CityNet is West Virginia's local internet provider. High-speed, reliable fiber internet, probably right at your front door. Now's the perfect time to connect. Local customer support you can trust, fast, reliable fiber internet built for everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects. We're back on the CityNet statewide sports line right after this.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps. And never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
What does it mean to lead in medicine? J.W. Ruby Memorial Hospital is the top hospital in West Virginia, nationally recognized for 3 programs and 18 procedures and conditions. But to us, leadership means being first in care, in lives saved, in lives restored. In medicine, we lead in the ways that truly matter.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the road.
Download MetroNews Television on your iPhone or Android. Search MetroNews Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Sitting at Statewide Sportsline, good evening. Thanks for joining us. We are outside the Health Plan Studios outdoors. Kyle Wiggs and Brad Howe at the State Softball Championships at Little Creek Park in South Charleston. Greg is back in Morgantown. And also in Morgantown is Mountaineer pitcher Dawson Montessa. And Dawson, good evening. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
What's up? How are you doing?
We're doing great. It's a busy time for you. We certainly appreciate your time. So let's start with the recovery. We'll get into everything that went down last week, but we're interested in the recovery. And Coach Sabins has talked about how West Virginia has more information available to it than any other baseball program in the country in terms of all the biomechanics. So what has this week been like for you trying to recover and get ready to pitch again this weekend?
Yeah, so it started off with the morning of the last day of the regional. I went into the training room and got cupping on my whole back and my shoulder, so that felt pretty good. And every day before we pitch, like live or bullpens, we use our arm care app, and we basically evaluate our own health. Like if I'm not feeling the best, I'll rate my soreness a 7 out of 10, but the day that I pitched on back-to-back days, I think I put my body as an 8 out of 10, so I felt pretty good. And before we're even throwing a baseball, we do arm care tests, so we test how much pressure I'm able to put on my arm internally, externally, my range of motion. So everything goes into the decision of, putting me in back-to-back days. So they're just making sure I'm all healthy.
All right, let's turn back the clock and talk about your performance in the regional because, my man, you saved the season for West Virginia with that game against Wake. You were lights out, going 7 1/3. Just a really impressive performance by you when West Virginia had to have it to keep the season alive. So before we even get into coming back the next day, so two-parter question. Let's take that one first. Tell us about going against Wake Forest. As you entered that game, you knew you had to have a big game, and, boy, you really came through.
Yeah, it was fun. It's basically what you dream of. I came here to have the ball in the biggest moment of the season and, always want to deliver. And it's cool because out of high school, I never thought I'd be pitching against an ACC school or even playing for a Big 12 school. So it was a pretty cool moment for me. I didn't really try to think of it as too big of a game, because every game's the same. I try to just execute one pitch at a time, and it pretty much worked out for me.
So
you were elite and really got it going there. So the second part of the question, sorry, let me throw this at Dawson real quick. So then you come back, 30 hours later, come in the non-traditional setup, coming in with 2 strikes, and you're in throwing again. You're hitting 96, 97 on the gun right out of the gate. So you answered a little bit about how your arm felt when you came in, but how did that come about? Did you go to Sabes and say, hey, I'm ready if needed? Does he come to you and say, can I go to you? How did that develop that you came to be ready to go in that very next game?
Yeah, before the game, he came up and asked me how I was feeling, and I said, you know what, I'm actually not feeling that bad. Like, I feel a lot better than I did yesterday, which is pretty weird. That never really happens to me. And he said, so if I give you the ball to get 3 outs, you can do it? I said, yeah, why not? So the whole game, I actually didn't think he believed me until I got the call to play catch and get hot in the bullpen. I was like, oh, this is actually happening. And, the adrenaline pumped through my body, and I didn't really feel anything in my arm.
So you mentioned that you didn't think you'd be pitching against an AAC school. Your path, like almost everyone's, it seems like, is completely unique to West Virginia. Queens native, played at a college on Long Island that probably not a lot of people know about, at Delphi University, a Division II school. Yep. So how did that all work, and how did you ultimately make the jump up to a Power 4 school in West Virginia?
Yeah, so my freshman year was pretty rough for me. I had around like a 7 ERA with, a lot of hits and a lot of homers against me. So I didn't really think I could have went D1. So I stayed for my sophomore year, had a pretty good year, sub 2 ERA. And then I had everyone telling me, all my coach telling me, like, you have to go to a better school. Like, you have a high ceiling, so I want you to, harness that. And I went with it. I said, you know what, I kind of want to go to play D1 baseball. West Virginia was one of the first schools that reached out to me, like, the day I went into the portal. So they've been very hospitable. They've been very nice to me. So it was a pretty good decision coming here.
And you come up with that special performance, and it's been, I guess, kind of up and down for you this year, Dawson. Would you agree with that? And how did you manage to iron some of the things out that allowed you to have your best performance here late in the season?
Yeah, definitely a lot of ups and downs. I've seen all of it. Not up to my standards, but, I went into this game taking one pitch at a time, not thinking about, 3 innings in advance. So I just tried to have confidence in myself, to understand that I know what I can do, I know what I'm capable of, and just, trying my best out there because, I'm playing for a state, not just for myself. So it was pretty cool to just go out there with confidence with nothing to lose.
Dawson, give us an inside look at how that biomechanics center, which is so unique here to West Virginia, and we've talked often about Paul Skeens, a Cy Young Award winner, coming down and using it because there's nothing like that around his major league franchise. Tell us how you have used that. How has that made you better? How does that help not only you specifically, but the West Virginia staff as well? How do you use that?
Yeah, I mean, it's sick. It's got a lot of stuff that I still don't know about. We have 10-page reports about our body and how it moves, and I honestly couldn't tell you a thing about it. That's why we have a nice biomechanist that helps us. But we're in there every day. Even if it's just throwing bullpens on a track, man, we see our spin rates and how hard we're throwing. And I think we do have biomechanics like bullpens, so we throw on speed motion cameras. See, I'm still shocked about it. I really don't know what they are.
Yeah.
But we throw bullpens that assess how we move, and so we make unique plow drills and med ball drills so we can help where we're deficient. So
Dawson, what was the atmosphere to play in like on both Sunday and Monday? I mean, can you even put into words what it was like being on the field and in the clubhouse when ultimately victory came about?
Yeah, no, I can't explain it. It was pretty sick. I haven't played in front of that many fans ever. I think the most I had played in front of last year was around 100, and they were all just parents of the team. So it was pretty cool, especially walking off, everyone chanting my name. It was surreal.
And again, your path here, Coach Saban's told a story I believe it was in the preseason or early in the season, about you and your family visiting West Virginia, and you were in awe because you could see the stars, right? It's something you can't see in New York City because of all the light. So obviously with West Virginia winning regionals in back-to-back years, you knew about the program. It's one of the top programs in the country. So there's that. But what else did you know about West Virginia? Did you come here cold?
Yeah, I mean, I came in knowing that they just went to back-to-back super regionals. I didn't know really anything about it. I did some research before I came in, but I really didn't know what to research. So I kind of came in cold, and, Steve Sabins gave me a pretty good breakdown of the whole town, of the history of the program. Everyone knows J.J. Weatherholt and Alec Manoa. And he mentioned Jed Jerko when I was on my visit. I was like, oh, I know that guy, but I had no clue he was a West Virginia alum. So, yeah, I came in with little knowledge of West Virginia, and I'm going to come out with a lot more than I had.
Yeah, it's pretty neat stuff. All right, so tell us about, you mentioned the recovery for this week, but this path has unexpectedly opened up where you guys get to stay here at home, which is just simply remarkable. So we've had guys on before that says the scouting reports don't necessarily come out too early in the week. You don't want to be overwhelmed with that stuff early. But walk us through what happens here as we're starting to move into Thursday and then game day comes on Friday. When do you start to really lock in on Cal Poly and what this opponent will be like this weekend?
Yeah, like you said, we didn't really get a scouting report, but, we start locking in the day after. Obviously, we had an off day, but we have to learn to turn the page and know that, last week's team was amazing, but this week's team didn't really do anything. So we just want to go to practice every day doing the stuff we love and what we've done all year. So I like to say it didn't change, but obviously we're playing for a super regional, but, the process doesn't change and what we do doesn't change.
So you say the process hasn't changed and you got to turn the page, but it's got to be a little hard to turn the page when just 2 days ago you guys are going through a celebration the likes of which that ballpark has never seen.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty hard to change, but to turn a page. But we always say don't ride the highs too high. So obviously good stuff happened to us, but we can't really just bank on that. We need to do something, even better for this super regional.
Yeah, I would imagine the way this coaching staff prepares you guys and the attention to detail and, just that. I mean, it's just another series, right? You got to win 2 out of 3.
Yeah, we just got to win 2 out of 3. We've been doing that all year. Why stop now?
Hey, Dawson, your stuff is electric, as we talked about earlier. You're hitting upper 90s on the gun. Have you hit 100 yet at any point?
No, that's my goal, though. I want to hit 100 by the end of the year.
You are close there. What's the fastest you've got clocked, bullpen or game-wise?
I hit 98 against TCU when I came out of the bullpen.
I remember that. Yep, we were there. All right, so you're at 98. We just need a couple more miles per hour. Maybe this weekend. Crowd will be bananas.
Yeah.
Big moment. Maybe you
adrenaline.
get a little juice there to get you 2 miles per hour.
Yeah, maybe if I didn't throw 122 pitches the day before, I could have hit it.
Absolutely. Were you
That's all right, Dawson. Yeah. Hey, we'll take the 122, throw a 96 if you do what you did again.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I'll take it definitely.
Were you a kid that always threw hard? I mean, Little League, were you that guy in the mound that nobody wanted to face and they were all shaking in their little shoes, or did this come about late in your career?
Yeah, I mean, in Little League, I always threw hard, and I was like the rubber arm going 100 pitches every game. And then I kind of fizzled out sophomore and junior year of high school, and then, with the development in college and, lifting 3 times a week, I gained the velo. And I think when I got here, I topped 94, and now I'm topping 98 in just a couple of months. So, that just goes to show the BPC we have and the resources, how it helps us.
Yeah, that's incredible. One last thing for you. Again, West Virginia's been all over not only the college baseball world, but just over, the sports world in general with the scenes after the game, singing Country Roads. What's that? We've talked to a lot of guys. What's that like? I mean, is that like an out-of-body experience? Are you numb? What is that feeling like when you're celebrating with an entire state on the field after a win like that?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everything that happens here is out of body and just surreal. Just hearing the whole crowd just sing that song and, all attention is on us. And I think that's the loudest I've heard it this year because usually people leave at the end of the game, they know we're about to win, but we locked in the Super Regional, and they're all happy. They're all drunk singing the song, and we're all hyped up that we just walked off Kentucky. So it's sick. I couldn't sing it because I was out of breath. I was like gasping for air as I was singing it. So it was pretty cool.
Well, it makes sense it was the loudest because that was the most people that have ever been in that ballpark. So,
yeah.
Well, Dawson, again, we know you guys got your hands full this week preparing and recovering, and we certainly appreciate your time and best of luck. And, again, everybody in the state, you guys all know this, but we're all behind you 100%, and everybody's living and dying with every single pitch.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Dawson Montessa, Mountaineer pitcher. Another guy from Adelphi, Division II, comes here and is throwing 98 in a regional, helping West Virginia advance to play a super regional at home.
Guys, I know we're broken records with this, but the evaluation over the last few years to take these guys, this entire staff, you are 2 games from the College World Series, and most of the guys making contributions here, especially these starters, are all up from Division II. It's just really remarkable the job this staff has done at finding talent, then cultivating that talent, and getting them to perform on the biggest stage. Just simply incredible.
Absolutely. Thanks to Dawson there. We're underway here. Morgantown taking on George Washington. And the Mohegans in the top of the first have a runner on base. If you're wondering what all the commotion is in the background, we are at the state softball championships, AAA and Quad A games going on as we speak. We're going to get a wrap-up of what's happened on the AAA field from Greg Carey when we return. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. Again, the Health Plan studio moved outside, at least for tonight. Since 1979, the Health Plan has called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses, proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years. The Health Plan. We're back on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline after this.
Communication is more than words. It's how we live and connect. At WVU Medicine Speech Therapy, our experts help children and adults improve speech, language, cognition, and swallowing. From stroke recovery to pediatric communication needs, we create personalized plans to help you move forward with confidence. Ask your provider for a referral. Visit wvumedicine.org/outpatient rehab or call 855-WVU-CARE.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. Your tax dollars helped expand broadband access across West Virginia, and CityNet makes it real. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. So whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Our stretch of summery sunshine does continue with temperatures heating up heading into the weekend. A cold front Sunday brings scattered showers and thunderstorms, but on the other side of that front, still plenty of warmth next week. High temperatures for Charleston, for some context, have been very close to average recently. Stayed in the 70s Monday and Tuesday, low 80s today, but starting Thursday and continuing through Sunday, each day around 5 to 10 degrees above daily average. No precipitation expected in the region through 8 a.m. Saturday. A very dry stretch here. Notice even over our 7-day forecast, only minimal amounts, with most areas expected currently to stay under 1/10 of an inch. So broad high pressure, that continues to secure some dry air and clear skies overnight and some sunshine for our Thursday. That will be the same thing Thursday night into Friday, Friday into Saturday. Sunday brings the cold front, but on the other side of that, another high pressure system looks to secure a very quiet stretch next week. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. D.C. rising to 95 on Saturday, staying clear there. Even Orlando and Tampa getting a bit of a break from the thunderstorms heading into the weekend. Panhandle to panhandle forecast. Generally in the mid-50s tonight with clear skies. Morgantown 54, then 83 here for Thursday. Moundsville 87. Going east with Martinsburg's 56 tonight. And topping off at 89 here on Thursday. The cooler spots towards Davis, 76 for your Thursday. Meanwhile, Snowshoe, another cool spot, 49 tonight and 74 on Thursday, but 81 Elkins, looking to Parkersburg for 85, and in Ripley, Lewisburg, 47 tonight, Charleston, 52, 87 for Thursday. The cooler spots here are still managing low 80s. A very nice stretch into the weekend. As mentioned, Storm Sunday, followed by another dry stretch.
Sitting at Statewide Sportsline. Good evening. Welcome back. I'm Kyle Wiggs, Brad Howe. We're at the State Softball Championships, Little Creek Park in South Charleston. And Greg Carey of WVMetroNews.com joins us. And Greg, we explain this every night, but these fields are, 50 feet apart? They're back-to-back. But I'm so focused on the Quad A games, I don't see anything from AAA. And you've been at the AAA field all day, so get us caught up as to what's happening there.
Yeah, good evening, and starting with the first game of the day, the top seed, John Marshall, moved to 2-0 in state tournament play, a back-and-forth affair, high-scoring game, and the Monarchs scored 3 runs in the top of the 5th inning to overcome a 1-run deficit and defeat Kaiser 9-7. Like I said, a lot of offense on both sides. John Marshall jumped out to a 4-0 lead, but Mason Inklin of the Monarchs has been one of the most impressive players in this entire state tournament, and she continued at a torrid pace with 3 hits in the opening game and played a key part in John Marshall's victory. And then moving on to the second game of the day, I think we've become accustomed to just expecting an instant classic anytime it's Winfield against Herbert Hoover, 2 of the premier programs in the state, regardless of classification. This one lived up to the billing and then some. Winfield with 2 runs on a Riley McClellan double in the bottom of the 10th inning to score a 5-4 walk-off win over the Huskies. And as we know, the Generals have won 3 straight state championships. The Huskies won a number of them before they were dethroned by Winfield. So really, 2 of the elite coaches and elite programs, and it was a game that lived up to the billing. Then about 20 minutes after that heartbreaking loss, Herbert Hoover had to retake the field in an effort to avoid elimination. They did exactly that by scoring a 9-1 win against Point Pleasant. What was kind of interesting about that game, Point Pleasant defeated Hoover in both regular season matchups. So a 9-1 result in favor of the Huskies, but they were 0-2 against the Black Knights in the regular season, so they flipped the script when it matters most. And then most recently in another elimination game, Kaiser scores a 4-3 walk-off win against Pikeview. And I mentioned her yesterday on the broadcast some. Those of you who are familiar with girls high school basketball, Bibbs Felton. I'd like to say that standing in that press box looking at the season statistics, I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen this. I've never seen an OPS in the 2000s. That was where she's at. Having seen her now play in 3 games here, I can understand why. She's, essentially either getting an extra base hit or intentionally walked just about every trip to the plate. And ultimately, they decided to walk her in the 7th. Pikeview did. The next batter, Brielle Root, ends up hitting a double over the right fielder's head. So kind of a, pick your poison type deal there. I can't fault anybody that doesn't want to pitch to Riley Felton, but it did not pay off for the Panthers in what amounted to a season-ending loss.
So some offense there, but really the story around so many of these games is pitching, and we've seen such great pitching. But when you get into today, teams might have to play 3 games, and now some pitching inning restrictions start to become a challenge. As you look at AAA tonight, any teams facing that as they move forward?
Yeah, and I'll say that, in the sake of this game going on now, which is the winner's bracket matchup between Winfield and John Marshall, it's something that comes into play for Winfield because they went 10 innings earlier against Hoover. So Maddie Carroll, who is the defending state softball player of the year, headed for the College of Charleston to continue, as good as anybody in this state, she's only going to be able to pitch a max of 4 tonight. So the Generals will have to throw somebody else. And where I will say one team that maybe it doesn't hurt as much is Herbert Hoover. They have 2 pitchers. They split back and forth. Although they did play 10 innings in their first game today, they were able to win the next one in 5. So they were able to save a couple innings by ending that victory against Point Pleasant early. And we'll see how much, that plays into their next game against Kaiser. But at least on paper going into it, you would think that's especially important.
Yeah, and Kyle, that came into play with Cabell Midland earlier today, right? Tried to juggle it a little bit and see if they could get by their second game without going to their ace, but it ended up getting them as they lost 2 today and are out of the tournament here. But it factors into the equation and the coaching you have to go through.
You got to think about it. So you're referencing Drea Watts there, and Drea Watts pitched against Morgantown, and they lost that game 3-0, had to come back and play Parkersburg South, and if they would have won that game, they would have had to play a third game. She could only pitch 14 innings. So she pitched in game 1. They were hoping to get through to game 3 to pitch her again, but it just didn't work out. She ended up finishing up game 2, and Cabell Midland lost and was knocked out of the tournament. But these coaches, some of them, are faced with that type of dilemma.
No question. I think another thing that comes into importance of there is when you have those 5 and 6 run leads and an opportunity to finish things off. Some of those at bats, maybe you're thinking, oh, we're coasting, we're winning either way, maybe not thinking ahead like the coaches are and some of the assistants planning for the future. But that was what was really impressive about Herbert Hoover. They had a 7-1 lead in the 5th inning, 4 consecutive hits with 2 outs, and they're able to end that game early. As a result, they don't have to throw anybody in the 6th and 7th innings, so now they've got a couple pitchers with a couple extra innings under their belt for tonight.
So John Marshall and Winfield, those are the 2-2-0 teams. Preview that game for us.
Yeah, 2 tremendous teams, your top 2 seeds. John Marshall comes here as the number 1 seed. Winfield, a 3-time defending state champion. As we said a little earlier, it's going to be very interesting as this game gets into the later stages to see how Steve Hensley decides to manage it, because Maddie Carroll can only pitch 4 innings. So you would think in the case of the Generals, playing with a lead, building a lead is probably of the utmost importance, because no offense to anybody else on their staff, but they're not going to be
right.
Maddie Carroll. There's not a whole lot of Maddie Carrolls in this state regardless. So, when she has to come out in that 5th inning, if they don't have the lead, you would have to give the advantage to a high-powered John Marshall offense.
No doubt. So that game is underway. Greg Carey's covering the AAA portion. By the way, Bibbs Felton's a junior.
A junior.
Yeah.
So maybe when she's here next year, she'll have an OPS in the 3,000s.
That is a ridiculous stat.
Yeah, I've
Goodness
never
gracious.
Never seen that anywhere.
That is incredible. All right, Greg, we appreciate your time, and we'll look for Greg's work at WVMetroNews.com. Thanks. We appreciate it.
Anytime, guys.
All right, Greg Carey covering the AAA bracket for Metro News. Text line is open, 304-TALK-304. 304-TALK-304. We've got a text here. Texter says, I have heard a lot about our population and relating that to our success being improbable. I disagree, and everyone needs to get over it before it's self-fulfilling. Kansas and Iowa are small states too, and while bigger, they are more isolated and have 2 Power 4 programs each. We have a great situation here. Do the Hawkeyes and Jayhawks dwell about it like our staff and fans do? Let's sure hope not. Let's go Mountaineers.
Yeah, I actually think Nebraska's the more apt comparison right there, where it's just one school in a state with a little smaller population. Iowa's a little bigger than you think, but yeah, I tell you what, West Virginia's getting it done. Where that comes into play, though, and I'll make a direct difference between Nebraska and West Virginia, is the corporate support and the number of Fortune 500 or 200 companies that exist. That's where West Virginia is constantly searching for the financial help.
304-TALK-304. The text line is open. What do we got here, Brad? Top of the second, Morgantown.
Yep, 0-0
with George Washington.
Morgantown, last at bat, had the bases loaded, but couldn't play to run. George Washington gets out of it. Now we move to the bottom of the second.
All right, bottom of the second with Morgantown and GW. Greg Hunter will rejoin us when we return. 304-TALK-304. That is the text line. This is the CityNet statewide sports line, and we are live at Little Creek Park in Charleston where the state softball championships are going on. You can hear play-by-play broadcast of these games, the radio play-by-play at WVMetroNews.com. And when this all ends tomorrow, we'll take a day off, and then Metro News shifts to Huntington where the state baseball championship tournament will begin on Saturday. And, guys, talk about expansion. My goodness, the state baseball tournament used to be 12 teams, 9 games over 3 days. Now there's 32 teams, 8 per class. It starts on Saturday and then ends on the following Saturday.
Well, and we just talked about pitching here. And softball pitching, as we know,
is
if
different.
You've got one, you're in great shape. If you've got 2, it's a luxury. Baseball is a whole different animal, and that, to me, is where a lot of strategy is going to come in, especially for these smaller schools with smaller roster sizes.
Yeah, the expanded 32-team baseball tournament starts in Huntington coming up on Saturday. 304-TALK-304, that's the text line. It is open. We'll take a break. We've got more coming up on the CityNet statewide sports line right after this.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Feeling under the weather but don't want to leave home? With WVU Medicine Virtual Urgent Care, you can connect with a provider in minutes, right from your phone, tablet, or computer. From cold and flu symptoms to minor injuries and more. Expert care is just a click away. No waiting room, no commute. Available when you need it most, including evenings and weekends. Skip the trip and feel better faster. Visit wvumedicine.org/virtualuc.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
CityNet statewide sports line. Thanks for joining us. A little bit of commotion in the background. We're at the state softball finals as we've got the AAA winners bracket game going on behind us, and Morgantown playing George Washington in the Quad A state championship game. Greg Hunter is with us in Morgantown. Brad Howe, Kyle Wiggs at the state softball championships. Text line open, 304-TALK 304. Texter asks, in the final 8, actually the final 16, you've got 8 super regionals, do they reseed or are the seeds based on super regional results? Well, the answer to that is neither. There's a bracket. So West Virginia and UCLA as regional hosts were bracketed. The winners of those 2 regionals were going to square off no matter what. Now, the home field is determined by the higher seed. So if UCLA wins that regional, they would have hosted the super regional, but they didn't. West Virginia wins its regional as the top seed, so the Mountaineers get to host.
And, you know, Kyle,
simple situation there.
Yeah, one thing, the College World Series, if he's talking about that, once you do get down to 8, that's also still bracketed. So who West Virginia plays in the first round, or West Virginia or Cal Poly, would play in the first round in Omaha next week, already is set. They'll play Troy Little Rock winner in the first game. Now it's double elimination.
Right. Well, again, West Virginia, at least on paper, getting a break there.
It's really remarkable, guys. I mean, listen, as we've said, there's a lot of runway between where we sit today and getting through to the College World Series. But you're right, Kyle. I mean, you're lining up against some teams here that at the beginning of the year, if I would have told you that's the path into the College World Series, you would have said, okay, let's take our shot. Yeah, let's go see.
And you look at the list of the national seeds, the 16 national seeds, the top 2 are out. UCLA got beat, Georgia Tech got beat, Georgia, Auburn, North Carolina, Texas, Alabama. They are all on to the Super Regionals, but your number 8 national seed, Florida, got beat. The 9 national seed, Southern Miss, got beat. The 10 national seed, Florida State, got beat. And on it goes. Mississippi State was a national seed that got beat. So it's chaotic.
It's half of the national seeds are out of this tournament as we move to the Supers. And we've said before, last year's College World Series field, none of them returned. None of them got out of the regional round. Some didn't make the tournament, including LSU that took West Virginia out of the event last year, didn't even make the field of 64. So you know what this has become, guys? It's almost college baseball, the NCAA tournament this year, is almost what March Madness was a few years ago with all the crazy upsets and the chaos, where we've seen March Madness kind of do away with Cinderella, right? The dollars have started to fluctuate and hurt those smaller schools, and those upset stories were not there the last 2 years. But it's alive and well in college baseball, as you just outlined some of it.
And the way it's formulated now helps underdog schools. You used to have to go win a 6-team regional to get to the College World Series, and that played to the better teams with better pitching. It's not like that anymore. If you can win a 4-team regional, your pitching resets, and then it's the best of 3 super regionals.
Yeah, and then couple that with the money is flattening the sport, as we've seen in the others for a while, and you've got a school like West Virginia that can suddenly go into a stratosphere that they weren't. Never mind the NIL dollars and the Biomechanics Center, but remember the announcement that gave West Virginia fully funded scholarships on their full roster. That's never been the case, and not everybody was able to do it. So it's allowed some more teams to come into the haves category and try and compete here for a World Series title, and West Virginia is squarely in that mix as we head into the weekend.
Texter Greg says, thanks to you, I butchered it. He knew. Greg, you knew what he was asking.
I just inferred. Let's go there.
Here's another one for you, Greg, asking about a scouting report. How deep have you looked into Cal Poly?
Not a lot. I mean, a little bit. I mean, we talked about it the other night. Their RPI was 73 at the end of the regular season, so certainly not in the top 20 like West Virginia is. Their best win, their only Power 4 win of the season, is against Virginia Tech, which they did in the LA Regional last week. I think they were 0-4 against Power 4 teams, if you don't count Washington State, which they split against as a Power 4. So this is, this is opponent that's moving up a step in class. To be quite honest with you, they did get swept by USC during the regular season. They played them 3 times, so they're moving up. They've had a nice season, but. Like I said, a 73 RPI, Brad. I mean, you look at that and you go, okay, West Virginia, take your swing.
Yeah, take your shot. This is a pretty good defensive team, especially in the infield. They're second in shortstop, middle infield, really good defensively. They've got a third baseman that's good defensively. But you asked a timely question as I look at my text messages. Just came through 1 minute ago, guys. Tomorrow night, 6:06, we will be joined by Jensen Lewis, ESPN, who will be the analyst again on the call this weekend. Jensen was the analyst this last weekend at the Morgantown Regional, so he'll be able to provide an in-depth scouting report tomorrow on Cal Poly. But helpful for West Virginia to get Jensen back, super complimentary of the crowd and the audience and what he saw. He returns, and he'll be with us tomorrow at 6:06.
Texter points out a mistake I made real quick, Greg. I said Mississippi State was one of the national seeds that got beat. That was incorrect, obviously. Mississippi State in a super regional against Georgia.
When we had Jensen Lewis on last time, he had not yet had a pepperoni roll. Now that he's a veteran of that, he can probably critique that as well as West Virginia's lineup.
Yeah, we'll enjoy talking to him coming up tomorrow. We'll lead off the show with Jensen.
Very good. Greg, what's the schedule now? There's a media availability for each team, and each team gets an opportunity to work out at Kendrick Family Ballpark.
Yeah, practice sessions and for each team, and then interview sessions for those of us in the media with selected members and coaches tomorrow afternoon, and that's it. Then you can turn around, and Friday you get it on.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I mean, the week goes by so fast. Of course, we're down here immersed in the softball tournament. watching every pitch of every game, at least on the Quad A field in Morgantown and George Washington. They are scoreless as we are playing here, I believe, in the third inning. The sun is setting, so it's a really difficult sun field, especially for the outfielders. And the pitch is coming from the bright sunlight into the shadows at home plate, so a little bit of a struggle here as the sun sets. We got one more game tonight, an elimination game in 4A, an elimination game in 3A, and the state championships will be decided in those classes tomorrow. And as we mentioned, Friday off, the state baseball tournament begins on Saturday. So we're coming down the stretch here, and it looks like the Mohegans and GW scoreless, right?
I tell you what, the two pitchers in this game for GW and Maddie Wisman for Morgantown don't need any more advantages with the sun into the shadows,
no doubt.
But they have one here for a little bit of time. That is an extra degree of difficulty when you're trying to hit that ball coming out of the bright sunlight.
And again, George Washington, a tremendous freshman pitcher that's done an unbelievable job in this tournament, Kinsey Bellamy. And she was a winner earlier today over University High, throwing a shutout. And again, doing a great job against Morgantown in the early portion of this contest. So again, all the coverage at WVMetroNews.com. Joe Bricado and Greg Carey have highlights and post-game stories, and you can hear the play-by-play. The Freds Persinger are on the AAA game. Fred Sr. and Fred II, they're calling the AAA games. And right now we got Luke Wiggs and Daniel Woods on this game, and we will continue with the championship round tomorrow.
Well, we have Wiggs, plural, coming up on a game this evening with you and Luke.
Yeah, Luke and I will be calling the final elimination game tonight. I think I hear the music on. It's pretty loud here, but I think we're coming to the end. We appreciate it. Thanks to all the texters, and thanks, Greg. We appreciate it.
No problem. Talk to everyone tomorrow.
All right, music's playing. We're out of here. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening and watching the CityNet Statewide Sportsline for this Wednesday night.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.